join us for another episode where real men have real conversations about leadership, relationships, morality, and dominion. Welcome to Mancode. What's happening, everyone? This is Malcolm Crawford. Welcome back to the Mancode. Get ready. It's going to be a blast. You don't want to miss it. Tell a friend. Check your listings. Mancode. Season's going to be epic. Look forward to seeing you.
That brings me to another point with this. Now, let's say I'm going to use myself as an example. And we all cool and intertwine each other's lives. Let's say I have a terminal illness. I find out that I only have a year to 6 months to live, but I keep it from y'all because I don't want to worry you with it. So I'm handling everything. I'm, moseying through. But again, I'm not telling the whole world. It's not about that. You definitely should tell those intimately involved in your life. However, I'm keeping it from those. I'm keeping it from brothers that I consider to be close to me. Brothers. Is that fair?
Well, go ahead. Yeah, I can go on this one. But yeah,
No.
let me just, I would be wondering why. And I'm not going to say I would go to the point of being offended, but I would just say, man, look where your help come from, man. I'm going to go through this thing with you, man. I'm down because I'm not trying to pump myself up. But if you really get to know me, like Elder Fant knows me, if we go back 50 plus years, man, I'm that guy, truthfully, that's going to ride you out, man. I'm not going to, carry you 2/3 to the journey. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say, man, I thought we were a little closer than that because, as far as going to, that's something. If you're sick, man, you need to know somebody that can go there with you. People stay with you for a while, but if you get sick for a long time, eventually you'll see who, when the smoke clears, you'll see how that thing kind of wanes off, and you want somebody that's going to stay with you, man.
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't necessarily feel like it was unfair or be upset or anything. And I guess like this is me speaking through personal experience because my father passed away from cancer, and getting that news was extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing. And even my dad, like when we found out what it was, the disappointment on his face when he found out what it was. And so in those instances, like I guess I kind of put myself in the other person's shoes and consider how they're feeling too, because it's like they have to fight over like the doubt, the disappointment that they're dealing with internally before they can even go to anybody and say anything. And so like Pastor Malcolm said, like if anything, like those people that are closest to you, like I would expect you to tell me or whatever. But if you don't, and I find out and you only got a couple weeks, to live or whatever, I guess I would say I would have a lot of grace and be understanding of why you chose not to say anything, because I've seen on firsthand the effects of getting news like that and what people go through internally when they find out those things about themselves.
Before anybody jump in, let me say this, Brother Austin. The question was a little bit different, though. Brother Johnson, if you see what I'm saying? Now, if it was somebody else, I definitely get where you're tracking with that. I would be a little bit more, different, like I say, because, but he said if it was him. Now, if it was his wife or something, like you say, that was another person. I definitely tracking with you 100%. So yeah, but I'm just saying if it was you or somebody, you see what I'm saying? If it was somebody else, I think my approach would be a little bit different because that's them that you're sharing information about versus yourself, if that makes sense to you. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why I responded like I did. If it was somebody else, my response would have been a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I just want to make sure that, yeah, okay. But I love your response.
Now y'all didn't confuse me. Can you restate the question?
So I basically just threw in, is it fair? Let's say you're sitting in a situation and I know that, I only have 6 months to live. And we're talking us. And I fail to disclose to y'all. that, you know, I only have that amount of time to live. And then, you know, here you come up and I just miraculously come up dead. I'm saying, is that fair to know, for me to know that and not disclose that to those close to me like this? Is that fair? That's all it was.
So I'm going to say yes, because all relationships aren't equal.
But let's say if it's a close-knit relationship,
Doesn't even make a difference.
you know,
All relationships are not equal. I mean, to say you have the same equal level of
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, let's say if it's your ace, boom, cool, your day one, and you know, you rock with your boy, you see your boy every week, y'all talking, but you don't disclose to him like, look, and I'm dying to say, you know, they gave me 6 months to live.
mm-hmm.
I'm saying, and that's in that context, is that fair?
Is that fair to let them know that you only have 2 days, a couple of days left to live, and you could have told them when you first got the diagnosis?
Yeah.
I'm still the same. My thing is that my thing is that, how can I put this? That's such a personal thing that you're dealing with, and you're wrestling with it, and you haven't come to terms. Maybe you haven't even gotten to a place with whatever it is you're tussling with that you're really ready to process it and to deal with it, to even share it with anybody. That maybe, you know, it's 2 days. I only got 2 days or 4 days or a week left. You know what? I should start letting some people know, because, you know, because I've been wrestling with this. So it's like, how do you deal with grief? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? To me, that falls into that same category. It's like everybody processes that differently. So I don't think it's fair for a person to say it's wrong that I didn't, because everybody processes stuff. Some people, as soon as they get the diagnosis, they go out and tell everybody, like, oh, y'all, you know, get around this. You know, we don't, you know, some people don't. They play it close to the chest. So, but
I would totally, okay. I would totally agree with what Danielle is saying. It's really up to that individual. You know, some people feel like expressing what's going on in their lives. Others are keeping it close to their chest. You know, in the piece, you know, I don't want to get into why they would do that, but one may be things, you know, like, okay, you've been praying for me, so let that prayer still be good and solid. You know, I don't think that things are going to change just because you know it about me. You know, and each person has their own rationale as to why, you know, they do certain things. You know, I may be one, I'll just put it out there, I may be one that be close to the chest, you know, because with that, it just brings on a lot, you know, a burden and just a hurt feeling, you know. So my hurt, I'm displacing it with my 4 brothers, you know, now they're grieving, you know, where it could have just been me. I've been given this diagnosis, so let me deal with it. Let me write it out. I know you guys got my back. You guys pray for me all the time. But to add another layer onto what you may already be going through, I wonder how fair that is.
And just even to what he just said, then you still have that other factor of, you see me one way, and then I want you to see me strong.
Mm-hmm.
And by me sharing with something, it changes your perspective, your perception of me. You know what I'm saying? No matter whether you praying for me or not, I've given you some information now. And when you see me, you're seeing me through the lens of that affliction.
Right.
Whether you
pride,
you can call it pride or whatever. I'm just saying you see me through that affliction. And so you don't see me the same. You don't see me through the lens of how I want you to see me. And I don't see that as pride. I think that's how, because how can I put it? If you start seeing me as a person that's weak, you start handling me soft. Mm-hmm. And I don't want you to handle me that way. I want you to handle me the same way you were handling me before. You know what I'm saying? You know, you start asking me, are you okay? Are you good? You know, like, who wants that? Who wants that around me?
Yeah, right.
It's going to get good. It's going to get good. It's going to get good.
I agree.
What about with your wife? Would you tell your wife?
She knows that.
Because I think that's one person you don't want worry, stress.
So
burden.
So most assuredly, I think if it's your spouse, you need to share that with your spouse. That's your significant other. That your life was going to alter her life, so she needs to know. Right. But that I think that's a different dynamic of a relationship.
Right. Mm-hmm. I would totally agree with that. Your spouse is a total different entity, so to speak. Because she's got to take care of everything else you're leaving behind.
Y'all know I want to go down the line of the family tree, but I'm not.
Go ahead.
What if it's a sibling? If you tell your sibling, now I know every sibling. Let's say if it's a sibling you're close to, because we all have different relationships. Mm-hmm. There's always one sibling that you rock with more than others, even though we love them all. Mm-hmm. Would you tell that one sibling that, or would you not? Would you be almost afraid to tell them out of how they're going to react, and how, again, all y'all points rolled into one: the reaction, the look, the care, all that.
Let me say this, answer your question that you just asked. Yes, I would tell my siblings. But to get back, I got to go back with Brother Danielle and Elder Fant. I'm going to kind of, I guess, push back a little bit in the respect. I respect what you're saying. I hear you and I get it. And I'm not saying I don't agree with it. But I would say, too, I wouldn't necessarily preserve your illness, your infirmity as a weakness, because I've seen some people, and I can testify this personally, on their deathbed, and they were, very sick, terminal, hospice, but man, they had that fighting spirit, man. They weren't giving up, you know what I'm saying? And see, so there, it depends on how you see it, because I just said this, my past wife that passed away, she was a fighter, man. She fought the good fight, man, until she passed away. And so, I mean, even though her body had changed in physical form and so forth, her spirit was still strong. And see, so that's what I'm gonna gravitate toward, that spirit, you see. So I'm not gonna look at you like, okay, yeah, you lost 30, 40 pounds. I'm not going to see the physicalness. I want to see that spirit, that inner man. Hey, man, that you're still fighting, that we're going to get through this thing. But I definitely agree and respect what you guys say. So I get it from that perspective, too. But I just know the position I would come from. I'm not going to look at you as, and some people do have that problem. They don't want you to see me as how I look physically and so forth. Some people don't even want to go to funerals because of that. They don't want to see you in that casket. They don't want to see you like this. They want to see you as that healthy, strong, vibrant person that they remember you. And I get that too. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. But me personally, so I get it. So I would just say, but I'm sensing that spirit, that fight that they have, you see. So, hey, man, I'm fighting this thing. We're going to bounce back and however God leads from that direction, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, Pastor Malcolm, not a lot of people are wired that way, like you are. Do I wish people were wired that way? Absolutely. But like I said, it's like, it comes from experience. Like Danielle said, like, you just don't want the constant, how you doing? Are you okay? Are you this? Because like, it makes you, I feel like it kind of and this is more so me speaking of from an emotional perspective and not necessarily an ailment that I've had, but it reminds you of what's going on. And I think a lot of people don't want to deal with that. And I feel like when it comes to matters like this, people don't know how to handle people. And so you end up saying something that's insensitive. Like, it's not intentional to be insensitive, but you're not considerate of that person's state of mind when you're interacting with them. And like, it happens often when I come back to Grand Rapids, right? It's like, how you doing? How was your Father's Day? It was the first one when your dad died. And it's like I'm laughing, I'm joking, I'm having a great time, thinking of all these great memories. And then like, here you come with that energy, right? But I think a part of it is like, people have a hard time processing what a person is going through as well. And so when they don't understand and know how to process their own emotions, they end up projecting how they feel on you. And so I think that's why I agree with what Danielle was saying.
But let me give me about 30 seconds. What I would still say is, like, I'm not going to tell those people that, if I tell those people, like my brother, my family, I'm telling them out of, respect and courtesy. But everyone else that I tell, hey, I'm like you. Hey, Jesus will put the people out the room with no faith. Don't come in here, because when you come in here, you come in to fight. You see, I'm not going to tell those Debbie Downers, no, you come in here, we're going to war in this thing. So I'm not just telling everybody just willy-nilly. I'm telling people that I know are strong in the faith, strong in spirit. And when they come in, they're going to edify, they're going to build up, they're going to lift up. That's the mindset I'm going from, because I know if I told you guys, I believe my spirit, because I just don't gravitate and get, I believe you guys will come in warring in this thing. Hey, man, if Pastor Crawford ain't ready to check out yet, I'm going to war with you, man. And whatever. See, so that's my position. But like you say, you don't want nobody come up to you, oh, Pastor, brother, you're gonna be okay. I'm praying for you. I'm so sorry. No, go now. You got to go. You know what I'm saying? And My wife, you know, they wouldn't let them up in the room. No, no, no. We got certain criteria to come up in here. You got to come in here with some faith. You know what I'm saying? That's my position.
I like the discretion that all y'all use in this scenario. And that's great because, again, one thing you have to look at is we all know who's a heavy support in our lives. You know who's a pillar. And I think as you mature, you begin to differentiate that even more. It's like when you're a kid, everybody's your friend, you know, barely know them, you don't know their parents' name, don't know their, but you know, everybody's your buddy. As we get older and as we mature, we begin to differentiate those pillars in our life. So definitely, I think surround yourself with those pillars and then use discretion on how you go about navigating from there. That's the easiest way I can put that.
I love this topic. we can talk about it. Yeah.
Since we're talking about kind of keeping things under wraps, okay? This is my I get some kickback on this, but this is my feeling. And I'm gonna say me, I don't feel human beings were created to carry mental worries, and this is me too. But hiding behind walls of problems is really a sign of weakness. Now, how do men get the courage to really see a physician, a therapist, a counselor, or even reach out to one another? Because if you're always, and we're not talking in this scenario we just left from, you know, you're at the point or verge, okay, but let's say you know something's wrong with you. You have mental instabilities from bad relationships. You know, you have issues from your childhood, things you can't recoup from, things you can't get over. How do men get that courage to take that step or even reach out to somebody who might be able to lead them in that step?
I guess I would say like for us that are in that place to where we can share you know what we're going through and be vulnerable, for us to just do it with our friends, like, you know, at church, you know, at the barbershop, at the grocery store, and it doesn't have to be anything deep. Like, hey, what's up? You know, say I'll call Jonathan, right? Yo, Jonathan, I'm dealing with this. I just wanted you to know, keep me in prayer. Right. And just tell him outright. So he's like, man, this dude is like trusting me with what's going on inside. Well, I'm dealing with some stuff too. Maybe I should start sharing with him. And so, like I said, us who are in that place where we're comfortable sharing with certain people or whatever it may be, whomever, right? Just being honest and letting people know. Like if you at the store and somebody's like, hey, how you doing today? Like, I'm doing all right. You know, it's a slightly rough day, but I'm glad to be in the land of the living, right? And just like model that behavior of being honest with how you really feel. And it doesn't have to be anything deep or a therapy session. Just be honest, man, and model honesty for men so we can feel more comfortable being honest with each other.
I think men have to understand that it's okay to get help, to seek help. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, man, I'm not doing well, but it does take courage. You know, sometimes some men won't do that, especially until it gets to the point where they either just all messed up, things went totally south, or they have no other alternative and they're at the last, you know, the last thread of the rope and they just have to come in. Unfortunately, many do that, and it would be nice if they didn't. But I love what Brother Austin said. Yeah, man, you know, just share, talk to each other. That's what that relationship is about. Have people that you can go to. I got certain people I can go to. Now, even I got some best friends. We go back as Brother Jonathan say, day one. But I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to let them know that I have this thing going on. But I'm not going to be expecting them to really come in and war with me, because if they're not in that same vein, you know, I'm not going, you know, but so you have to know who you're dealing with. You know who you really call them, you know, the heavy hitters, you know what I'm saying? When you know who to go to when you got that real big thing. And yeah. But for me, I don't have a problem. Like I said, I'm not going to tell everybody my business, but you know, if I needed to get some counseling, I wouldn't have a problem doing it. You know, I'm not going to broadcast it out, you know, I went and did it, but yeah, it's just nice to talk sometimes. Half the time, most of the therapists just want to hear what you got to say. It's just, man, you just getting it out, you know, and they might give you some input, but as a whole, they just want you to talk.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Because one thing I look at with a lot of men is we're scared to go to doctors. We're scared to reach out for help. And the thing we have to realize is we're not invincible. We are not invincible. You know, we aren't made as Superman. We might be very strong. We might be made very resilient. But even the strongest thing needs repair. So just like how your physical body breaks down, you can't treat everything with a Band-Aid and some alcohol. Can't throw peroxide in every germ. So sometimes we have to understand that there are sometimes that we need to be built up. We need to have things added to us. You know, we need to actually have support pillars around us to actually help us navigate through our lives. So if something's wrong with your body, man, shoot, go make an appointment with the doctor. You know that something's not right. You know, something's wrong with your head, you know, mentally. You know when you're unstable. You know, you can mask it, you can hide behind things, but deep down inside, once you look at yourself, you know, hey, you know what? This is a bad turn for me. I need to talk to somebody about that. That's not weak. That's just really, that's strength. That's really, the more honest you are, the stronger you are. And anybody can argue with me on that, but I just think that's where that's it.
Well, I'll add a quick piece to it also. You know, I think it's the network that you have around you. You know, if you have a strong network around you, I think that gives you that courage and that piece that, okay, I guess I do need to go see someone, you know, concerning whatever the issue may be set forth. But it's just that network, you know, that helps you throughout your everyday problems. You know, we can't solve them all, but the network that we're involved with, sometimes they can be the helping force that we need to get us to that point of, you know, being courageous or being brave enough or just being open. That's a better term. Open enough to get your needs met.
Yeah, I don't even know where. I can't really pinpoint where I got the habit of doing this, but just in any circle of brotherhood that I've been in, we've been able to create, we call it a hot seat. And whenever we come together, we always make time for hot seat. Hot seat, we put a chair in the middle of the floor and we just say, you know, anybody got anything that, you know, they want to bear, that they want to get counsel on. And we let them basically just come up and they share whatever that is. We just allow them to bare their soul. And then we, you know, we give them wise counsel to help them with that particular situation. When I lost my first wife and I tried to push through and try to go back to a place of normalcy after, you know, and try to go back to teach in the classroom. And people are asking me, why are you back? Didn't you just lose your, reminding me of all the things that I had happened to me and wondering why am I still moving forward. I then took a break and then I sought out prophetic counseling because at some point you have to address or face your personal giants. You got to face them. If you don't face them, then they'll forever be those things that hinder you from advancing into whatever aspect of your life you want to move forward in. And so, like I said, I can't pinpoint where or who that instilled that in me, because I can't, you know, I've always just been a person that is confronting things. You know, I remember even when my accident happened, before that, I remember getting the prophetic word telling me there was going to be a time in my life that I wasn't going to be able to walk around it, but I was going to have to walk through it. And I didn't know what that word meant at that time because I received it much earlier, you know, in the years. But when the situation came up, this was one of those situations that I couldn't suppress, that I could not, you know, tuck down and sweep under the rug. I had to look this thing straight down, you know, down his throat and say, it's not going to be the end of me. And so I just think that if for anyone listening to this, I think that if you don't take away anything, the most important thing, the most healthiest thing you can do is that no matter how tumultuous the thing is that you feel like you are going through, you have to face it down, whether it is in the council of men, if it's going to therapy, if it's finding a person with an inclined ear, but finding somebody that has wisdom to be able to, because the last thing you want is to have somebody ignorant trying to give you advice, because that's only going to exacerbate or make your situation worse. But that's the best thing you can do is to face it down.
Yeah, and I love that too. And I would just ask the question. My mindset is, how bad do I want to live? You know, that's my thing. That makes me govern everything I do, because hey man, if I'm gonna get the counseling, I'm gonna go to the doctor. I'm gonna do all I can. I'm gonna try to be wise. Lord, give me wisdom so that we can get through this. And the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, and because you don't know anything. We know about the problems, man, with the prostate. They don't get it. I hope I said that right. They don't get it checked out and all that type of stuff. And then before you know it, it comes upon them and so forth, just because they were maybe fearful to go to the doctor. Some men are just scared to go to the doctor because they don't want to hear the report, you see. But you got to go regardless how, it may come out, but you got to get that information. You got to have that knowledge. That's so key.
That's it. Now, let's wrap up the conversation here. Now, in the Bible, in Proverbs 17, it says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. What does this speak to all the men out there who choose to suffer alone? Real clear.
That you don't have to.
That's it. We can be more in depth, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's so right. Hey, you just have to connect with people, man. We're not an island, man. You were not created to be isolated. You are meant for people, community. You have to get people around you. And as Elder Fan, whoever said it, you have to get people that can help you. But yeah, that person that that's going to be with you, that's what you need, man. Because when it's time to fight, when it's time to grind, you got to have somebody that is going to be there. When the going gets tough, you know what I'm saying? You don't want people that's going to break camp on you, you see. But someone that's going to be that ride or die guy. Hey, I know if I can't count on anybody, I can count on this person. And of course, we know that's why the Lord Jesus Christ, you better get that relationship with him, because even if your whole posse broke wide, that God will never leave you and forsake you. See, so yeah, but that brother that's going for day of adversity, that's so true, because you need them when the time gets tough. Yeah.
Who else want to add in on that?
I agree. I agree. I mean, you're not alone. Obviously you have friends, right? And something mutual connected you all to become friends. So like, why not, attempt to take that friendship to the next level, right? And if you don't know how to do that, like Pastor Malcolm said, first, get connected to Jesus, right? Like, he directs our path in a lot of ways, but get connected to good godly counsel as well, man. One thing I love about these brothers here is like, no matter how long they've known you, no matter where you come from, no matter if you was in a room for 5 seconds, like vulnerability is gonna be displayed like right away. And it doesn't even have to come through words. It can show through an embrace, like, hey, what's up, brother? Nice to meet you. And it's a hug associated with that, right? And so just getting a place where vulnerability is modeled by godly men is an extremely important thing to do as well.
I would second that, godly counsel. Get the godly counsel. I feel it's hard to go wrong if you're following those footprints or that path. It's there, and it's there for a reason, such as this, to give you that good counsel.
The Bible says also that iron sharpens iron.
Oh, yes, that's the other piece. Yep. Yes.
I look at that in the sense that I think a lot of men are afraid to come up against a sharper piece of iron. A lot of men are reticent, out of fear or out of a sense of competitiveness or stacking up, to come against to brush up with another man, to seek that from another man that who may be further along, sharper, more seasoned. Because for whatever reason, you're measuring yourself up. They're not there for you to use as a measuring tool. They're there for you to use as a guide. So I like to implore that to a lot of the men out there. Discern a lot of the men that come across you. We may have shunned some men in the past because we looked at them as competition, when we should have been embracing them as somebody who can actually show us some of the ropes that we need to navigate through. So my thing is, no, you're not meant to do life alone. My pastor said it a few times back. We can't scratch our own back. Human beings, people were not designed, our arms are set up, but we can't do it. We need somebody else. And it's great to have a supporting, loving wife in your life, but you need a strong man that can actually help you in those tough times that only another man can relate to you in. So that's my 5-cent piece on that. Y'all got anything else y'all want to top on?
Yeah. Second, I mean, not second, but First Samuel 22 speaks about David when he escaped and went to the cave Adullam, and when the men heard he had retreated there, all the fathers of the house heard it, and they went down where he was, and everyone who was distressed, and everyone who was in debt, everyone who was bitter in soul gathered to him. And he became a commander over them. And there was with him about 400 men. And then David went from there. And then the Bible continues to say that they came out refreshed. They came out as new men. There was a refreshing. There was a renewing. There was this retreat away. And so I think one of the things that we need to do, kind of like build it into our schedule whenever. It doesn't have to be, a whole a month, or it could be 3 days, but you build into your time of retreat. Whether you build a retreat with brothers of like-minded faith, or you retreat away in order for you to spend some time on your mental health, or just getting before God on the things that you need to deal with. But I think there's a stealing in way that we need to build into our spiritual life, that we keep ourselves fresh, renewed, keep our ear inclined, because we all face, it doesn't have to be some of the things we mentioned here as far as near death or coming back from the loss of a loved one. It could just simply be the stresses or the pressures of our life, that we choose to just push to the side and keep still moving forward. We still need a time to set aside in order to allow ourselves to be refreshed, to hear, and to incline our ear to hear. And I think that should become a part of what we do. And it shouldn't be situational. It should be just like you plan a family vacation, or you plan an anniversary, or you do something for Valentine's Day. It should be a fixed time. It can float, but it should still be a fixed time in your year that you say, this is my time to retreat.
I like
Definitely.
that. I like that.
Time refreshing.
Yeah.
Time of refreshing.
Don't get so busy buzzing that you miss out on the best parts of your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes just that rest, even God rested. So there's there. And not just, just on the one day, but Danielle's right. We need that. We need that as men, because we deal with a lot. And if you are a righteous man, then you definitely deal with a lot. If you're a man that's trying to do right with your life, you deal with a lot. So I commend you for that. But at the same time, remember, don't do life alone. I've loved this conversation with y'all tonight. We really, and I hope you agree with me, viewing the audience. My brother's really poured into you tonight. So definitely take this to heart. We care about, the things that we put out. We care about those that we reach. And we just want you to be healthy enough to have your life established and flowing in the right vein too. So as you go through this, definitely like it, subscribe, and share this. Sharing is so important, because we don't know who in our world, just like we're talking about suffering in silence, you don't know who around you is suffering. It just doesn't know how to outlet, doesn't feel like they can outlet. So your share with this, you might save a life. You might turn a whole family around just by reaching one individual. So definitely like, share, and subscribe. And I've enjoyed this. Leave us comments. If this has impacted you, if this can be helpful to somebody else, leave us some comments on this, viewers. We want to hear from you. But until we come again with some more conversation, keep the man code. We're going to see you soon.
All right.